Gender roles. So the fascinating thing about the argument that feminists have in regards to gender roles and gender roles being completely socially constructed is that while they argue for gender roles to be being completely socially constructed, and that the reason why males wear male clothing and female wear female clothing is not based in biology whatsoever, while they argue for that, at the same time they seem to support, although what I've noticed is a lot of infighting between transgendered people and feminists coming up. They support the transgendered people who are, like a man born in a female body, and they want to express themselves as being a man, so they take on the presumed socially programmed gender roles, as in dressing like a man even though they are a woman. They take on those roles to express their inner sexuality. They support those people, even though supposedly that this whole gender is a construct anyway, so it wouldn't really matter if they wore female clothing or male clothing. They support their right to wear those things and express their gender at the same time. I know it's really, really confusing to me as well. And I think being confused is probably the first step to really becoming a feminist. I think the second step is really shouting loudly at people. So I'm gonna make this video as simple as possible, and what I'm gonna say is that nobody is arguing that women can't do certain male jobs, that they can't play sport or be welders or be builders. What people are saying is that when you're born a woman, your potential to achieving in those certain areas is far less than a man's is. Just like the potential for men to achieve in certain female areas is much less than a woman is. And the fact that males just happen to be born into having the potential to achieve things which are very practical, while women have this ability for more, I guess, expressive means and introspective experiences, like the emotional experience that women can have. The male experience of emotion will never ever compare to what a female can experience. The intensity of the emotions, the colors of the emotions, the ability to go from one emotion to the other instantly and experience them all mixed up. And men will never experience that. Orgasm and things like this. Men will never experience that. But because the male experience seems a bit more practical, whereas the female is more of an enjoyment and more of a, dare I say, frivolous kind of experience, more of something that makes life worth living rather than something that makes life actually go on and exist in this harsh reality that we live in. People get really pissed off at that, even if they bring it up as a simple that men do better overall in those kind of areas than women. And this is what all the time people are saying, because look, in the end, men and women have a lot of things that are similar, and certainly women can survive in the wild, and they can build things, and they can protect their children or protect men. And in a lot of cases, well, not a lot of cases, but in cases, women are better at certain gender roles that men are supposed to be good at than other men. Not all men, because so far there hasn't been a woman who has shown to be better than the best man at those certain gender roles. Like we haven't seen the best female athlete better than the best male athlete yet. So we haven't seen that yet. I mean, it might happen, and then we can re-examine everything, and because after all, at the same time we are born, we have an influence on our biology, so biology can go wrong, or we can have both genitals, or we can have this, and we can be mutated into something. Perhaps in the future women can mutate into some kind of weird ass female monster that's really, really strong also and very logical, but they still have a vagina or something. But in general, men and women are born a certain way and they have the potential to achieve certain things. And while that might not, please some people, reality might and biology might not please some people, that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. And even now there's certain things we can do about it, like you can take drugs or whatnot, you can have surgery. In the end, you are still born who you are born to be. A lot of people would want to live forever, and being a human, you can't really do that. So that's a daunting reality, and yet you kind of have to live with that reality and find the positive side of it, just like you find the positive side of being born into a certain gender. So when a person is born into a body that they weren't supposed to be in, I see this as a deformity, and people get really upset, when they say, "Oh, this is why are you calling this transgendered person a deformity or a disease?" Like, it's not a disease. But if you think about it, if somebody is born with like a tentacle for an arm, that would be a deformity, and they will not be able to achieve the potential of being a human being. Like, they might be able to achieve some other really awesome and interesting things having a tentacle for an arm. I'm not saying that, but it certainly is an abnormal state to be born into. And if you're born with all your body parts not being the right ones, at least, certain body parts not being the right ones, that would be a deformity to me. And so when people are born this way, which we have obviously no control over, it's a tragedy for me. That's the way I see it. I see it as something like a pianist who is born without any arms, somebody born to be a great piano player, and he might still be able to play with his toenails or whatnot, and he might never be, but he'll never be as good if he was born into the body that he was supposed to be born into, with fully functional arms rather than tentacles or whatnot. So I see that as missing out on the potential. But what I see is that feminists tend to prop up this deformity as being something that everybody should aspire to. So when a man acts in the traditional sense of what a man acts like, or when a woman acts and expresses certain female characteristics, they attack it. They attack it relentlessly, simply because perhaps they were born with this certain deformity. It's almost like somebody who's smoking, or sometimes they're not even born with anything. I don't even know why they're pissed off half the time, honestly. But it's like somebody who is a smoker telling non-smokers that he's much more healthier than them, or someone with no arms telling other people that, look, this is way better having no arms. I can fit into small spaces and you should all chop your arms off. And they might truly fit into narrow spaces better than some people, but that kind of seems retarded to me. So that's the kind of bullshit I see with these feminists, almost sticking their nose up at people who choose to dress their male child into male clothing and buy a dress for their little daughter. They like snub them and think like, what are you doing? All these gender roles are made up anyway by society and you are simply enforcing them. Why not let these children choose what they want to do? Well, I think for the most part, in terms of raising children, if you let children do what they want to do, they'll probably go out and get run over by a car somewhere also. And I really believe that you should have some influence on your kids' lives, and you should kind of guide them into a certain direction. And of course, if the kid sternly doesn't want to go in that direction, you should let them go into the other direction. But there is a certain way people were born to be. It just sounds so simple to me, and like with a lot of these things, it's very difficult for me to argue something that's so blatantly obvious, or it should be so blatantly obvious. But I guess it's not for these feminists. And look, I might end this video here, and then maybe I'll make another video and talk about it some more. Yes, I don't know, when I think of some more things. But yeah, this is really what I see it as the potential of who a person can grow up to be. Even though by all means men can cry and wail and experience emotion, they'll never be as good as women at it, and women will never be as good at chess or whatever, even though they can play and do all that kind of stuff. Unless men maybe just give up and get bored of chess, then maybe women can kind of take over. I don't know. Or if we kill all the men, maybe if we kill all the men. Anyway.